in positions of failure based upon actions, different things that we're doing, different behaviors, different patterns that we're doing, which isn't allowing us to gain and to get the successes which we deserve and which we want. You know, when you look at self-sabotage represents, it's done many times through our behavior, but it's a product of our thoughts. And so some examples of self-sabotage could be addictions, in all the different forms of addiction, whether it's sexual, whether it's some kind of substance, whether it's any number of things that is taking full control of our lives, and it's not allowing us to be independent. It's not allowing us to no longer. It's taking control of our lives, so to speak. This self-sabotage could also come in the form of procrastination, which represents putting off the things that you need to do. Instead of doing what you need to do, there's other things that we place in front of going to go pursue and do the things that we're looking to achieve and do. Another thing could be manipulation, where instead of using our power to enhance and to empower ourselves and our lives, what ends up happening sometimes is that what happens is there's a tendency for some individuals, and depending on their background and various other things, to use their power to try to control other people instead of controlling and focusing on ourselves and the things that we can control concerning our own lives. Laziness, another form of manipulation, or another form of self-sabotage, where you're just sabotaging yourself. It's nobody else's fault. If I'm a lazy person, if you're a lazy person, it's nobody else's fault if we're not getting the things that we need out of life. Because there's certain things that are in place right now for us to be able to obtain, but it's going to require us not to put ourselves in a place where we're sabotaging ourselves. Self-sabotage represents that I'm defeating and destroying myself in the process of trying to achieve certain things. So this is a process of gaining back control. It's a step-by-step process of us starting to take back control of our lives and no longer allowing the circumstances or the events that's going on around us to dictate what our lives will look like. Your life will look like the decisions that we make. And the decisions that you make have to be decisions that are empowering you. If you are doing something to self-sabotage, that is not a decision that is empowering you. That is a decision that is destroying and hindering you from getting to your next step and to your next path. And so some of the things that I'm going to discuss real quick. Self-sabotage. I'm just going to give you 5 different examples real quick. One of them could be in the form of fear. Fear is a form of self-sabotage because fear will not allow you to get up. Thank you, Chloe, for being here. Appreciate you. It will not allow you to get up and do the things that you need because of the fear. Thank you, Kiva Sullivan. Manipulation, like I just mentioned. Laziness. These are all things which are part of the process of sabotaging self. Not allowing ourselves to do what we need to because of internal battle that's within us. And the main key with self-sabotage is that it's in our own minds. Thank you, Singh. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Dory. Appreciate you being here. Thank y'all for the taps and the likes. Thank y'all for being in here tonight. And so self-sabotage is a product of, sometimes it represents that when we are gaining some level of success, then what happens is because of an insecurity within our own hearts, within our own minds, not feeling valuable, not feeling like you deserve it. Thank you for the taps. Not feeling like you deserve it. Not feeling like you should have it. Not feeling like you can do it. What it does is it puts us in a place where you start sabotaging it and harming yourself or defeating yourself in achieving the thing that you want. And it's easy to stand back and look at a person that's in that situation and say, man, they had all that success. How did they blow that money? How did they do this? Why did they do that? It's because of they have a part of them in their heart, in their mind, and it's in their subconscious, which I'm going to get to in a few minutes, that is not in a place where they believe that they deserve it. So because they don't believe that they deserve it, it's a process of them defeating themselves and through their own minds. This isn't anybody else's fault. This is a process of self-sabotage. And so in order to stop the self-sabotage, there's got to be a retraining and a reprogramming and a reconditioning of our minds. The biggest part of our minds that most individuals don't talk about, which is the main part that controls us, is our subconscious. Your subconscious controls 90% of your life. So because it controls 90% of your life, it's important that you go in and that you look at what are your thoughts concerning success? What are your thoughts concerning a healthy relationship? What are your thoughts concerning finance and money and prosperity and abundance? because your thoughts concerning those things, your true deep down beliefs. Thank y'all for the taps and likes and shares. Thank y'all for the follows. Appreciate each and every one here. Because of your deep beliefs and your agreement with those things, you're going to perform and do the things it takes to achieve that success, and you won't self-sabotage. You won't start doing things to make yourself fail, because what you're doing, you're not doing it from a place of wanting to fail. Anything that you're trying to achieve, you're doing it from a plot. For most of us, thank you, Tanker. You're doing it. You're doing it from a place of wanting you and yours to do better. You're wanting your life to be better, your family, your business, your health, or whatever else you're doing. And so when you look at self-sabotage, there's a couple of different things that I'm going to go over real quick. Self-sabotage a lot of times is based upon identifying subtle environmental cues. There's things that go on around our environment. And it could be people, it could be places, and it could be things, which what it does is it pulls us back to that old place of us not really seeing the value of why we deserve to make a certain income. Why we feel like everybody else can do something and maybe we can't. Why we feel like we can't have a successful relationship but someone else can. This is where the self-sabotage comes in. It comes from a place of not seeing the value within yourself. But you are extremely valuable, because when you just understand the basic principle that your DNA, you're the only individual on this earth that has your DNA. So that means that you are a special person. You're not just a person. So identifying, the first thing would be identifying the subtle environmental cues. We get cues from our environment. And appreciate each and every one of y'all for the taps and the likes and the shares. Thank y'all for being in here. And these things, what they do is they kickstart, they kickstart unwanted autopilot routines. So a lot of our routines are things that you do on autopilot. You're not thinking about the things that need to be done or the things that you're going to do. This is why I talk about our subconscious mind so much, is because a lot of the programming, a lot of the thoughts, and a lot of the things that you're going to do that you're not even consciously aware of, you doing these things, because most individuals you meet, they're not consciously aware of what is in their subconscious. All they know is that they have certain blocks in their life. They have certain blocks in places that they can't get past, but they don't understand why. This is part of why I'm sharing this information, because I was in that same position where I couldn't understand why I couldn't get my business past a certain level. Why I couldn't, I was in a long-term relationship, but why I couldn't get it to the next, why I couldn't match up with the right person in my relationship. Because of my own thought process, because of the stories that I had received, because of the information that I had received based upon my environment. And so it put a natural process, it basically paved the way for not having the success that I wanted at that point. And it was through ignorance, because I'm not simply not knowing certain things. One thing that you can do, and I'm gonna give you a couple things real quick, is understanding the 5-second rule. When you have a thought that comes into your mind, a lot of times we have a thought, especially prime example, when you first wake up in the morning. When you first wake up, a lot of times your first thought, depending on who you are, could be hit the alarm or hit the snooze. If you hit the snooze, you would have failed this thing that I'm about to share with you. There's a lady, I don't remember her name, but she had a book out called The 5-Second Rule. And in this particular book, what she talked about is that when you first wake up, if your mind says hit the snooze, automatically the first thing that you need to do as soon as that thought hits your mind is slide your legs over, drop your feet down on that floor. Even if you sit in your bed, you want to automatically, when you have a thought that's contrary to what you want to manifest in your life, take some kind of immediate action. Something has to be done immediately. You cannot sit there. You got to move. Because when you move, what you're going to do is you're going to push yourself and start creating the pattern of breaking out of this self-sabotage, where things aren't being done because of wanting to be lazy, like the 5 things I talked about earlier. One, maybe laziness, or maybe your addiction to sleep, or it could be any procrastination. I appreciate y'all for being in here. Thank y'all for the taps and the shares and the likes. Thank each and every one of you for your attention. Thank y'all for joining the page. Thank y'all for the likes. Thank y'all for subscribes. Thank y'all for hitting the bell notification. But my point is, through this process of understanding the 5-second rule, what I'm going to do is when that alarm clock goes off, regardless of how tired I am, the 5-second rule says, You need to pop yourself up in that bed, slide yourself around, plant your feet on the floor as an example, because what you want to do is you want to move past what your mind is telling you to do. Your mind is telling you, oh, it's you're tired. Oh, you know, you get up later, hit the snooze and just get up 10 minutes later, 5 minutes later. No, get up then, get up now, because you're training your mind for the success that you expect, that you believe, that you deserve, that you know is yours. You're no longer self-sabotaging by allowing yourself to take the easy road, because self-sabotage represents I'm going to take the phase or the road of least resistance, where it's going to be easy. But you don't understand. Our minds are set up the way our minds are set up, or they're set up to protect us. Part of the protection that your mind is set up to do is that when you're in uncomfortable environments, for instance, if you're in a cold environment, your mind is going to regulate your body to tell, hey, regulate his body temperature, regulate her body temperature, because your mind is set up to make sure that you're safe. That's why we have fight versus flight. But so through this process, your body's going to regulate itself to try to get you in a place where you're in a healthy state. This is part of it. But just like it's used for a plus and for a positive, it can also be used as a negative, because it's something that's hindering many of us at times from getting to the next step in your life. Thank you all for the taps, the likes, the shares. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you for being in here. Again, I just got on here today. I wanted to share a couple things for those that are interested in learning ways that they can stop the self-sabotage. If you didn't get a chance to see the video from the beginning, you know, once I post it, it'll be up later on today. Go back in there. If you get a chance, go watch the video. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for being in here. So again, the first thing is understanding the 5-second rule. 5-second rule. I can't think of her name. She wrote the book. It's called the 5-second rule. If you Google it, she'll pop up. She's a blonde-haired woman with glasses. I can't think of her name right this second. But she talks about little things that you can do that'll start changing a lot of the old patterns, a lot of the behaviors and things that we've done. So many of us have done for so long that have not allowed us to have the successes that we want, because we're so busy allowing ourselves to look at the comfort. We want that comfort. We want to feel that comfort, the love of comfort. The third thing is journaling. Use journaling as a tool to look at your unique patterns that you're displaying throughout a day. What are the unique patterns that you're displaying throughout a day? And are these patterns allowing you to get closer to your end goal or your end objective, or are these patterns part of the process of the self-sabotage, where it's giving you an excuse, where it's allowing you to be lazy, where it's allowing you to procrastinate, where it's allowing you to manipulate yourself? Because sometimes the manipulation isn't other people. A lot of times, you know, there's manipulation that we do to ourselves. If you know that you're supposed to do something in order to achieve the success that you want, and you don't do it, you're manipulated. There's something within your own mind that's sabotaging you. And so this is why I've been sharing with individuals, especially for the last couple of months. And this is something that I've studied for years, but it's something that, like, when I get interviewed and someone asks me, what is the one thing that I would do different, or if I learned, or that I wish I learned in my 20s that I actually stuck with, the one thing that I would look at and I would really have done a deep dive on is the topic of the subconscious mind, because a lot of our lives are a mirror of what we believe based upon our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind controls 90% of your life. So whatever you believe concerning relationships, it's going to look like that. Whatever you believe concerning money, it's going to look like that. Or business, or success, or spirituality, or health, or anything that you value or look at as value. It's where our emotional responses are. That's why the things that people believe or feel emotionally, those are things that are ingrained. Those are things that are ingrained and written on the tablets of their mind. It's not something that's just a passing fancy. It's something that's actually ingrained and engraven on the tablets of their mind. You know, so in ending, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Thank you, each and every one of you, for your taps and shares and likes. Again, my name is Arnold Austin. I'll do a part 2 to this. And in the part 2, I'm going to go over like 5 or 6 things that you can actually do. 5 or 6 habits, 5 or 6 patterns and things that you can do to stop the process of self-sabotage. If you didn't get a chance to see this whole video, go back and watch it at the beginning. and start from the beginning. Appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Again, my name is Arnold Austin, and I am Coach AJ.